bongo bongo, he don't wanna leave the Congo.
Hello and welcome to the Battlefield 4 Open Beta being played on my PC. Now I'm playing it on PC and recording it as opposed to PS3 or 360 because I want to show you a couple of things. And one of those is the Siege of Shanghai map, which is of course the one where this can happen. I hope you'll agree that that is quite a spectacular event in the map, but the real purpose of this video is to show the potential differences across next-gen consoles, which may come about from trying to hit that magical 60 frames per second mark. I am of course talking about the recent rumours that the Xbox One is going to be running at 720p at launch, and the PS4 at 1600 by 900, which many people are calling 900p. Now, my rig is fairly decent. It's got a Radeon 7850, which isn't top end, but should be in the same ballpark technologically as the next gen consoles, but this is tied to an Intel Core i5-3570K. Now, this CPU has been overclocked from 3.4 GHz to 4.2 GHz, and the performance gap from this overclock is quite remarkable. I can now generally run 1080p with high graphical presets at 30 frames per second, which gives me a nice buffer with which to record fairly steady video. But before I had it at 3.8 GHz, and this 400 MHz difference meant that it struggled with breaching that 30 frames per second mark on even medium settings. So the different design and lower clocked CPUs in the next gen is certainly going to be a factor when optimizing your games. We'll have to wait until the final release to see how DICE have done with optimizing Battlefield 4, but this video is here to give an idea of the graphical differences which we could see. So before we get started, I just want to state that it's running at 1080p, 1440 by 900, which is the closest I could get to 900p, and then 720p. All of the time it's at high settings, and then for 900p there is 2 times multi-sampled anti-aliasing, and at 720p there's 4 times, because it's a kind of trade-off. You drop the resolution, you can up the anti-aliasing and get a slightly better, clearer graphics. So we start off in an unexciting underground setting, and the key points to look out for here are the Chinese blue text which are scrolling across. As it switches to 900p, or 1440 by 900, which is the closest I could get, you should see it's a bit blurrier, and now as I switch to 720p, it should be a lot less distinct. Switching back to 1080p, and you might want to start freeze framing, watching this on a full TV at 1080p so you can really see the difference. But when I bring 900p in, it should be able to see that it's less clear on the left hand side, and then even more blurry when you've got 720p. Another key area which I found when going hands-on with the PS4 and Xbox One builds of Battlefield 4 is the trees on the right hand side. Switching to 900p, they're not as clear and precise. The gaps between the leaves are a bit blurrier, the leaves look almost more watercoloured and painted, and you should be able to see the same to a greater degree at 720p. And again, I'm going to bring in 900 so that you can see the difference in the tree, and then also 720. But then to see the difference between 720 and 900, I've brought those together on the right hand side as well. This angle is quite a good one as well, because you have the water in front of you. In the distance you have the fine detail on the support of the bridges. And then also, if you look at the skyscraper itself, the reflections, though already distorted, are a bit blurrier, and you also don't get the fine-lined detail from the frames to the windows. And again, we're bringing in 900p so that There's just a little box, you can see the differences there, and also 720, and then in a second we will have 900 against 720. This one's just quick. You can hopefully see the detail in the front is blurrier, but also off right in the center of the screen in the distance, the stairs, which are distinct at 1080p, are just a kind of blurry line at 720. Now I've decided to go in reverse here, so we're starting off at 720p, and if you look at the plant life on the inside of the building, and also the skyscrapers off in the distance, just how much sharper the detail becomes. Taking kind of vertical slices now, you can see that progression. The plant life between 900p and 720p, it looks better in 900, and also off in the distance with the skyscrapers. So I hope that's given people a little bit more of an idea of what we're going on about when we say 720p, 900p, and all of the nonsense in between. There will have to be sacrifices made from like the ultra quality PC builds to get these games to fit onto PS4 and Xbox One. That's just the way it is. But in order for DICE to hit 60 frames a second, which so many people demand in a first-person shooter, they might have to make these compromises to the resolution itself. Now, this is just a short preview, it's just a quick look at what we could see, and hopefully DICE will be able to up the resolutions, get nice levels of detail for the final release, and we will see what they come out with. But in the meantime, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and let us know what you think in the comments below.
The Duke.